Cosmick Voice. Music, talk, and nothing but business with your hosts, Chris Nanolini and Mick Michaels. Hello everyone and welcome to the Cosmick Voice. This is Season 3, Episode 10. I am here with my co-host Chris Nanolini.
Hello, hello, hello.
And I am Mick Michaels. Welcome back everyone to another show. Chris, my good man, how are you?
I'm doing great, dude. How about yourself?
I am fantastic. As this show will air, it will be in October, and the Great Pumpkin is coming.
Oh, I love it. Love it. I got a rock. It's the best.
That's what Dee Snider said, but then...
He wants a rock.
He wants
Charlie
a
Brown
rock.
got a rock.
Yeah, his wife's got a rock, and she's giving the rock.
Suzanne has a rock.
Has a rock for sure.
Yeah, man. When everybody hears this, it will be October, and I'm super excited.
I enjoy Halloween. I like the shows and the movies. I love a lot of the classic ones. You know, you pick up on them. I love candy. You can't beat candy. You know what I mean?
Can't beat candy.
Can't beat candy. And I know when it's Halloween, that means Thanksgiving and Christmas is coming.
That's right. That's the only reason why you like Halloween.
That's the only reason. That's right. That's because you know Christmas is right around the corner. And if you play it right, it's Christmas and Halloween all at the same time.
That's
you know
right.
What I mean?
That's right.
So I can't.
Right.
And like I've said before in previous episodes, Hallmark Christmas starts in October. So what are you going to do? You can't do nothing about it. You just got to go with it. Absolutely. So on that note, tonight we are talking about fan appreciation or brand misuse. Basically what we're saying is taking a band or an artist's artwork and doing your own stuff with it. Now there's a couple different layers there, but let's talk about fan appreciation or brand misuse. So what do you think, Chris?
You know, I look at it a couple ways. And, you know I've said this a million times because sometimes when I hear our shows back, I go, God, I said this already.
Is that where all our numbers are coming from?
But, you and I come from a generation where music sharing, copying tapes and handing it off to one another and fanzines and all that, like that was the thing we did, man. We shared music. It was just what we did. So on one hand, well, first we should probably explain, maybe give more detail on what we're talking about. So basically what we're talking about is this. I'll just use this for an example. Taking someone's artwork and or logo, and we'll just use this for example, and getting tattooed, right? That is, depending on how you look at it and who you talk to, that could not be the right thing to do, quote unquote. So on that note, I look at it and I go, it'd be cool if someone came up to me and said, hey man, like I got your album cover tattooed, and I'm just using this for an example, album cover tattooed or, your logo tattooed. And so to me, because I come from the generation of sharing tapes and spreading the word, I'd be very flattered and very honored. But then I think about guys like yourself, Mick, who are artists, who had schooling in art, does great graphics, you do great artwork. A lot of the stuff that you do for your band, it comes from you. I would understand if you'd be upset if someone took your logo and maybe got a shirt made or maybe got a tattoo. And, if someone gets a tattoo of your artwork, that opens up a whole new door, because then there's conversation. Should the tattoo artist have done it without getting, the okay or seeing that the artist gave the okay? There's a whole snowball of effect when it comes to getting someone's artwork or logo tattooed on your arm, right? Or a printed t-shirt or whatever it may be. I guess my first question to you, Mick, is this. You make your own artwork. I don't, so I have to commission it. Like, if I come up with an idea, I buy that artwork, so it's mine to do whatever I want to do with. And if someone uses it, then that's up to me on a personal level. But let's talk about you, because you create stuff and you use it for yourself. So if someone comes to you and goes, and I'll use Corner Sanctuary for an example, because you do a lot of your artwork. So let's say someone comes to you and goes, hey man, I got the big hatchet logo that you guys use pretty regularly with the Corner Sanctuary logo. How does that work for you? Because you're the original artist.
Well, again, so like you said, like we're kind of putting this on a parameter. You got, is it fan appreciation or is it brand misuse? actually what bothers me often, especially since I've done some of the artwork, is when the artwork is either wrong or it's of bad quality. Like sometimes our logo has been put on posters where another artist has taken it from, I don't know, some, image off of the website or Facebook or something like that. And sometimes they're lower resolution for quick uploads, right? Or downloads, however you want to call it. But they weren't really designed for art-ready print. So we get that, and the logo is kind of messed up, or they've taken so much out of it you can't really tell what it is, and that usually bothers me. Like I always like to see the artwork somewhere. I mean, if someone got a tattoo, if they got a tattoo, I don't think I'd have a problem with that. That's okay. I don't see a problem with that. The shirt thing, if there's, I mean, again, like you think about it, go back to the days like when, we go to concerts and stuff, and I say they're still like that today, but I remember making banners. Like I remember making a big rat and roll banner. I mean, it was gigantic. I mean, it was like, for me, it was like 12 by 9 or something like that. I did the mechanical rat. Remember the mechanical rat they had?
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
and
for sure.
And the big rat and roll and all that kind of stuff. And again, I was copying their logo and all that, but I wasn't selling it. This was me wanting to express my my passion for the band. I mean, I still think that original Rat, those first 3 albums are just amazing. And, that was just my, I wanted them to see it. I wanted other people to see it. We hung it over at the nosebleed section of the Spectrum. You could see it. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. So, I wasn't going to sell it. I wasn't going to, it was just me taking something that I enjoy doing, art, and doing it for a band that I was trying to appreciate, show my affection type for, my listening affection, my, my commitment to them, that type of thing, my dedication. And you'll see a lot of that. Yeah, actually, today you don't see many banners. Like I remember guys, you don't see banners that much, because then again, it's impossible to bring anything in these days. You know what I mean? So back then you could bring in table, chairs, and an oven, a pizza dough, and a movie camera, and they wouldn't be bothered with you. You know what I mean?
It's so true.
Is there anything else? Do you have anything else in there? Well, I tried to get the ketchup for the fries, but I didn't have enough room. Oh, well, let me carry it in for you. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. So that I don't have a problem with. I have done artwork, non-music related, that I found that someone took without permission. And though it's kind of, you have to throw it up in the air, the way I look at it. And I do the same thing, believe it or not, with the pirating of the music, the illegal downloading MP3 things. I can't stop that, especially now with the internet. You can't stop it. You have to take it with a grain of salt. Like, okay, with the MP3s and stuff like that, the only thing that bugs me more is that it's usually of a lesser quality, and it makes the band sound crappy. I remember, and again, because artwork could be your music as well. Okay. So I remember we got an album review, and it was horrible. They talked about the production and stuff, and they started naming songs, and I'm going, well, that song's not on that album. And those songs weren't together. So I wound up finding it myself. Here it just was a collection of MP3s that somebody had of us, of very low quality. You know that when you start hearing that woo, 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 woo in the back? So we got a bad review for an album that didn't exist, that didn't have these tracks on it, and they were of bad quality to begin with. So I've always said, I made a joke of it, if you're going to steal my music, buy it from my website first, and then do whatever you want with it. Because the way I look at it is, it's exposure. They're going to probably make more money on it than I will, than the 0.003 cents I'm going to get. So at least I'm going to get some exposure. And if I'm lucky enough, maybe, I can go out and tour in that area someday. Maybe not now anymore, but, without the proper shots and cards and everything else. But when it comes to the artwork, too, that it gets me the same thing. But, I mean, you think about it, like, for reviews or someone's doing a post about you, that stuff is out there. And I'd rather see it out there than not see it out there, because someone's got a hiney ache about, well, I need to be paid for that. Well, I get that. I understand that, right? But your logo, especially as a band, is kind of put out there for public use if you're trying to gain exposure. That's the way I look at it. Now, if another band is using your logo, that's as part of their logo. Now, let's use this as an example, because I think you were starting to go towards it. Like, let's use Kiss, because they have so much material. They have iconic looks, an iconic logo. They have album covers that are iconic. And I've seen hundreds, thousands of people with male, female, with tattoos, the Kiss logo, Gene Simmons' face, album covers, Ace, you name it. It's on their autograph. I've seen Ace Frehley tattoos, with his autograph. Yep. And if anybody's going to sue, they would sue. I mean, you're talking about Gene Simmons, who, threatened to sue King Diamond because he said he ripped off his makeup, right? But this is the same guy who allows tribute acts to take their look, not their name. Again, it's a piece of their image. So the way I look at it is, like, it's just like with regular copyright stuff. If they're not making money on it, then it's okay. The way I look at it. I mean, it could be bringing them some notoriety somewhere down the line. When you talked about tattoo artists, if a fan comes in and goes, I want the Kiss logo or the Corners of Sanctuary logo put on my back, okay? That's okay. And I realize they're paying an artist to make a rendering of that particular thing. He's being paid not for the logo, but for his artwork or his time, right? And his effort. However, and I would think, and this is just me, and I don't know where the law kind of draws into this, there's probably some gray area. If that tattoo artist advertises and say, I can do the Kiss logo, and puts the logo up, and like he puts a real logo up, and says, I can do this for, whatever, I don't know, $150 or whatever, a certain size. Then I think that there's a problem, because that to me is brand misuse. Because he's using the Kiss logo, the Kiss brand, to bring business in that they don't get a kickback from. However, if a fan comes in and goes, listen, man, I really love Ace Frehley, and I want his face here, and I want, the Kiss logo underneath, and his guitar, and all that kind of stuff, well, that's different. That's different, because it's not being done for money. It's being done for an appreciation or even an obsession, but you got to pay somebody to do it. Does that make sense? That's the way, at least the way I would look at it. I mean, I know there has been things. Now, again, if I was to do an album and I had used an image of a Kiss album on my album, well, that's brand misuse. If I didn't pay them something, it's the same thing. If I put I do a cover song, and I'm making copies of it and charging. Even if I charge a penny, then I should have paid, a mechanical fee or a sonic, a sound fee type of thing. If I did a song, a copy song, cover song, and I just put it up for just demo, or I'm not making any money on it, well, technically that's that gray area that I'm really not in a. Some people say, well, you should get this, but then if you're not charging anything, it doesn't matter. And if you put it up on YouTube, apparently, YouTube, again, you can't advertise on that, and then YouTube pays the copyright to that artist for that. So you can't make any money. They've kind of demonetized your ability altogether, but then the artist will make some kind of money. And again, it's not a lot, but it's part of their streaming contracts of today. So again, look, I'm in the trench, right? I'm an into the trench artist. If anybody notices me, even if it was, in a police roundup, I get excited. That's the guy. That's the guy, officer. He's the guy. You know what I mean? Oh, hey, you notice me? You know me?
This is Stephen Pearson from Rat, the Rat Bastard. You're listening to the Cosmick Voice.
I feel the same. Like, to me, if someone makes a shirt or a mug or even a tattoo, and to me, it's an honor. I'm very flattered. Like, I don't really get into asking for money or asking for permission. My thing is, if you're going to make something with my band's logo on it, at least send me a copy. Like, at least give me, get me a copy, whether it be a shirt or whatever. Like, just so I have it. It's cool, because you're getting the band name out there, by someone that may not you may reach through that way. You may reach someone that maybe normally wouldn't ever hear of your band. So to me, I'm kind of like, yeah, man, like if you want to do it, that's cool. Just send me a copy.
Yeah, I mean, that's
because I want to have it too.
That's the way I look at it in terms of the illegal downloading type thing. Do you know what I mean? With the MP3s. It's like, well, a site goes up, it goes down, another one goes up and immediately in its place. It never stops. You know what I mean? And so you have to kind of, what are you going to do? Spend your whole week trying to police the internet, trying to find out so that you could rack up $1.20 by the end of the week? It just isn't worth it. You chalk it up that, hey, that's free promotion. Like you said, somebody that hasn't heard you, doesn't know about you, they may check you out. And you may get, pick up a new fan. I do think that, again, if a fan comes to a show and made a T-shirt, it's a one-off, they're wearing it, that's cool. I think that's great. However, if they're outside the venue and they're, schlocking my shirts that they made, I'll help you do it. Just kind of throw me something, maybe buy me lunch or something.
Right?
You know what I mean? And so that's the problem that we have with larger concert venues, right? You always have the guys a block and a half away selling the same shirts. Now, I'm at a belief now, and I'm going to go on the ledge and say this because, what's the difference? What are they going to do? Come get me? I think that a lot of that bootlegging out, especially now, because everybody knows it happens, and none of these guys hide it anymore like they used to do in the old days. I think that the venue and the band management are all in cahoots together. I think that they're just finding another way to get more money. They bring these guys in. These guys pay in. They each pay in. I don't know. Maybe they make $100, or they. Couple hundred. They put a couple $100 in, and they all get a stack of shirts, and they go sell them. They get to keep a certain amount of money. That's why you can go from a shirt from $25 before the show, and you by the end of the night, when closing in the parking lot, you're getting them for $5, right? And they're pretty much the same damn shirts. Like now, in the old days, I remember in the old days, there was a distinction between the shirts you bought inside and the shirts you got outside in the parking lot. They were, the collar was kind of like, it fit, the guy from the Goonies, around the neck, and there was a third arm in the back, and rat was spelled
something was spelled wrong.
Yeah, rat was spelled Bonnie Raitt, you know what I mean? That kind of thing. So there was something, they were made in someone's basement. These now, the ones that you see now, they're pretty top notch, and I really do believe that it's coming from the same place, and the money's all going to the same place at the end too. That's just my opinion, but I may be completely wrong.
No, listen, bro, that, I never thought of that, to be honest. That's a great point. And it even kind of makes more sense because now that if you think about it, and we're kind of getting off topic here, but real quick, the third party ticket sellers, now your StubHubs and all that, now they're in cahoots with Live Nation.
Right.
So, we're in the beginning, you didn't know that. And then, as time went on, you kind of found that out. Now, StubHub gets advertised on Live Nation websites. So, there is some validity to that, that idea that you have. I mean, that is an argument that can be had.
You look at it like this too, and again, we are slightly off topic, but at the same time, we're talking about the artist's artwork as a whole now. Whether it's a graphic design, their music, their T-shirt, it's like a tier system, right? It's like a pyramid system. Mm-hmm. With the 360 deal and the labels getting so much more to kind of fill in their back end, why wouldn't an artist make a side deal so they can get to keep more at the end? Why wouldn't you do it? It's good business. I mean, and the quality. I mean, listen, the quality of the bootleg. Why would the quality of the bootleg go up unless they had someone feeding the chain?
Right.
That's my opinion. You know what I mean?
I don't necessarily think you're wrong, Mick. I never really thought about it, but I mean, it's a great
point.
Not
to incriminate me, but it's been well over 7 years. I mean, I actually did that for a little bit, the bootleg shirts, and I know how they're made, and they're not made of top quality. First, the shirts aren't top quality, and they're just kind of slapped on with some crappy silk screen. The paint never holds up after the first washing. It's like I said, everything's crooked. But these new ones, they're pretty quality, man. And and like I said, it's the exact same stuff you're seeing. How does a bootleg guy have that production set up for that show immediately, it just doesn't make sense to me. I think it's just another way for them to capitalize on their own merchandise that they're being taken advantage of as well. There's so many hands in the pot, they had to figure out another way to do it. And that's my personal opinion. Doesn't mean that it's right, but it is. And I don't know what to say at that point.
No, man.
But listen,
that's a great point.
As an indie artist, if someone's putting my stuff out there for me in a positive way, I think it's fantastic. Now, maybe I would look at it different if I was Lars and I had all this extra money coming in, and and a small percentage was being taken out of that pocket. Maybe it would be different for me. I don't know. But right now, looking at it, like I said, my only pet peeve is when there's something wrong with it, when all they could have done is just emailed me or contacted me and say, hey, listen, can I get a good PNG of the logo? Give me a high definition, and I'll take care of it. As simple as another band putting us on a show poster, or a management venue putting us on a show poster, and it's not correct. To me, that's misrepresenting my brand, and I can't stand it. And I've complained about it in the most nice way sometimes that you can do it, and you're treated like, wow, you should just be happy. I was once told I should just be happy I'm on the show. I should be happy I'm on the show. I'm going to do my part, and I should just be happy that I'm on the show. You should be happy that I just show the frig up. The way I look at it, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
you should be happy that I even post, So, if I'm going to do my part, I would expect that as well, because for the world, right, outside of my band, I'm represented by my logo or the artwork that's put out there to represent my brand, as is the music. So you want to have the best representation possible. But for fans, man, listen, I think to me, that's like the greatest compliment in the world. I mean, if somebody's...
Absolutely.
I mean, it just, because I'm not even sure I want to tattoo my logo on my arm. I'm still debating it after 10 years. I'm like, do I want to do it? This is our 10-year anniversary. Maybe I should do it this year. Nah, I don't know. You know what I mean? So if somebody else does it, or, they make a shirt, hey, that's fantastic. Can you make me 2 of them? That kind of thing.
Right, exactly, right.
So, I can see where that... Now, I mean, listen, I definitely think that there's probably more brand misuse than there should be, because you'll get people that will use something to help sell something else. And I think that's unfair, because you're using the power of that brand, of that logo, of whatever it is, to help sell something else. And that's kind of where I go back to saying, like with the tattoo artist, if a fan's bringing it in, the customer's bringing it in and say, hey, I want to put this on my chest, my arm, my buttocks, whatever, that's one thing. But if the guy or gal, the artist, is advertising, hey, we specifically do this, and maybe there is. I guess maybe there is. There's guys that probably specialize in, again, I'm just going to use Kiss because they're visually iconic. They specialize in Kiss portraits and Kiss, because I've seen some stuff that's just dead on. Like, my God, you think it's real. So I don't know. I guess, like I said, it would depend on where you're at in the chain. Gene Simmons hasn't complained about anything like that. I mean, you see that if you go to those conventions, there's tattoo guys there.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And you'll see artists doing. If you look up, because apparently Gene Simmons is doing artwork now, or he's always done artwork, so he says, but now he's doing art shows. Okay,
right.
So I guess him and Paul Stanley, back to back now, and I guess. Pretty soon Ace Frehley will be doing it. I don't know what he's, But my point is, I tried to do a search to see some of his stuff. I said, Gene Simmons artwork. Well, everything but his stuff came up. There's artists that are specifically doing Gene Simmons type of portraits or caricatures or, renderings and stuff. And I thought to myself, well, I guess the truth of the matter is, if it's an original piece, then that person or that group or that brand doesn't really have any say to it, because it's not something taken except a likeness. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, totally.
However, see, and again, there's a fine line here, because if you take someone's likeness, they can take you to court for that if they're not paid. Because, like, here's an example. This may be not the greatest example, but I remember Mark Hamill was saying that the deal he made with in the original trilogy, the deal that they made with Lucasfilm and for the toys, is that anything that bared his likeness, so if one of those cards had a picture of Mark Hamill as Luke Skywalker, or the figure looked dead on like Mark Hamill, he got a piece of it. If it didn't, then he didn't. Do you see what I mean? So if it was like say from the comic books and they were on the thing, well, they didn't necessarily look like. And I think that was kind of, now I may not be completely on here, and maybe I'm geeking out, but when the Power of the Force 2 came out in the 90s and all the action figures were built, I don't know if anybody out there that remembers that, but all the action figures, all of a sudden, Luke Skywalker was Arnold Schwarzenegger with a lightsaber. Everybody was built, and a lot of your original fans complained about that. But that may have been a way for Kenner and Hasbro not to pay that original deal. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because it's
right.
we're not the use of the likeness. So, but at the same time, how does an original artist like a fine or a graphic artist go about when they're starting to paint? And again, we'll just use Gene Simmons as an example, in the demon makeup. How does that work out? I'm not quite sure. And I'm sure there's a fine line between, what is an original rendering, what is a conceptual rendering. That means, though it's not an exact likeness, there is, and see, that's the thing with because they do that too with comic book art, for the superheroes and stuff. You'll have a lot of people coming up and they create this artwork that's, like the Flash or Batman, and because it's got its own cult following, and people are doing it, but they're not. And some of these guys are selling it too, so I'm not exactly sure, because, and I'm going to roll back again to Star Wars, you can go on the YouTube and you can get a ton of fan-made films. Lucas has allowed that as long as, and I read into this, as long as nobody is making money from it. So there's a lot of disclaimers, this is non-profit, or, though we did a crowdfunding of some sorts, no one's making money on it, we're not selling products from it, all that, there's no licensing, and full credit is given that these are stories and or characters based on George Lucas's adaptations and so on and so forth. So there's a fine line, because I think I read this too at one point, and I'm going to use Star Wars as an example because it's one of the largest franchises in the world. He realized that it only helped sell his brand more. It brought more people to his brand to see the original. And if people are going that far, that means they're going to buy product. They're going to go see the next movie. They're going to buy the toys. They're going to, so on and so forth. So there's also a percentage thing. And I'm not sure if I'm going to explain this right, but there's a guy on Etsy who does custom-made Star Wars figures, and they look just like from the molds of the original toys, but they're all custom. And he's making money on it, but apparently there's a percentage scale. If you only make so much, you can fly under the radar. Once it becomes a certain thing, because it's considered one of a kind or a limited edition run. So... See what I mean? There's a lot of fine line there. And the internet is what really has taken that. Because now bootleg was something that you kind of did in the back of your trunk. You pulled up real quick and you go, I'm here, check it out. You want to see it? Yeah, okay. And that's the end. It's like a guy, and then he closes his trench coat and he moves along. Now it's like you're putting it out. The bootleg is out on the internet and you see it. And you know what I mean?
Well,
because
even some of the bigger artists, they've also have moved into supporting bootlegs. Just look, speaking of Kiss, just look at their latest album. It's a bootleg from, it's a bootleg from the board from Tokyo. Well, you know what I mean? There's so many bands that have kind of embraced that bootleg sound now that, because they realized what they were missing out on. Why let someone else make money when we can make money off the same bootleg?
Exactly, which then goes back to me saying those bootleg T-shirts, why they look so good. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? Because the criminal's not going to go that extra mile, in my opinion. it's one and done. They're trying to pull one over on you. Why go the extra mile like something you're going to have forever? They don't care about that. So they're not even going to have the money that long. It's going to the end of the night. You know what I mean? So
you are listening to The Cosmic Voice with your hosts, Chris Natalini and Mick Michaels.
And I think you're absolutely right. I think that artists, musicians, you know, whoever at the top have started to realize that this only enhances our brand, makes people want the original even more, and it's actually good fan service. Do you know what I mean? It keeps that thing. Because,
definitely.
like, if you think about this, right? Like, and again, there's tons of tribute Kiss acts out there.
Yeah.
None of them pay a royalty or anything. They're doing the show. They're doing this. Of course, none of them call themselves Kiss. It could be Kiss and Tell, The Last Kiss. They take a piece of this or whatever. But they're playing the characters of the Star Child, the Demon. They may not be calling themselves Paul Stanley or whatever the case may be, but they're calling themselves those characters, right? They're playing songs that aren't theirs. They are making money because they're selling tickets. Some of the bigger ones, right? They're selling tickets. Some of these, Live 75 and Strutter, you know, some of these bands have been around for a while to put on, you know, the Vegas ones and stuff. They're making some money. But at the same time, they're not selling CDs or albums of them doing the music. So if the fan enjoys the show, they're going to go to the Kiss catalog and buy it. They're going to go buy it. Like, right? So right now, Kiss is going to be celebrating, what is it, 45 years of Destroyer, right? And they're coming out with a box set with all this extra stuff, you know, posters and, you know, tour badges and stuff like that. I think that's coming out at the end of October or something like that. It's going to be around like $200 or something. So people that go see one of these Kiss tribute bands for the first time, and if they're doing that era or they're doing the Kiss Alive 2 or whatever, they're doing a host of, you know, songs, and they hear that, they're like, oh man, this is great, I got to go get some Kiss stuff. So when they go to the you know, these bands aren't going to have it. They're going to want to hear what the original sounds like. And so they'll buy a bunch of albums, and they maybe even buy these box sets and stuff. You see what I mean? So it just draws them in. Yep. And I mean, they've talked about it. Kiss talked about it recently, about like if this is their last run and they retire, they're going to set up like live tribute shows that are going to be official. That means these are guys that are going to be handpicked by Gene and Paul or the Kiss management or whatever, the Kiss front office, and the show's going to have authentic stuff. Not you know, not stuff that's watered down,
not
or
cardboard and duct tape.
Not cardboard and duct tape. It's actually going to have stuff from the Kiss warehouse vault, right? So they're going to have, and they're going to license these out, and that's just going. I mean, you see what I mean? I mean, now those tickets are going to be outrageous, but you're still going to see You're still going to see all these other bands do stuff. Now maybe things might change by then, right? Once they start doing it on their own, they may have to pull the reins in on some of these other bands, and maybe some of those other bands will be brought into the fold. Who knows? You know what I mean? Which will be a benefit for them as well. You know what I mean? Because the beauty about the makeup is you can get anybody in there. You can exchange people all the time, just like a Blue Man Group, right? Basically, I think that's what Gene and Paul had said. Like Kiss is going to become very similar to the Blue Man Group. And I've seen different versions of the Blue Man Group, and all of them that I've seen so far, I wouldn't know the difference between those guys from a distance. You know, they're bald and blue head, but it's a great show. It's a great show all around. So I don't know, man. If you look at it like that, I guess if you're doing it in the correct way and you're embracing some of it, you're able to find a way to make money around it. Now, again, you're also talking at the higher echelons, right? I mean, for us, though, us indie trench bands, there's no real way to do that. We have to be open that, hey, that's free publicity for us. You know, that's what they call, you know, what the marketeers like to call, well, that's your super fan. That's the guy that's going to champion you when he's in a room, he or she's in a room with 5 other people, and say, you got to listen to hey, what's that on your arm? Oh, this is a great band out of Philadelphia. You know, whatever. You know, none of them are taller than 4 feet. They're like hobbits, but they rock like much larger men. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. So, I mean, like, for me, I think it's a plus.
Now, let me ask you this, because we're talking about our bands, let's talk about your stuff as a solo artist, maybe stuff that you've used for the Cosmick View universe. I mean, now, like, let's look at it that way. What happens, or how would you feel if someone stole, say, you know, Muck and Junk or Cosmo? Like, you know what I mean? Like, how are you looking at that?
Well, that would bother me because that's original content that we're using because we have sponsors and stuff like that. It's slightly different. You know what I mean? Again, like now, if you're saying like, how would they steal it? Like they put it on a T-shirt? I don't know if I get too uptight about that. But if all of a sudden that content ended up someplace else without my and yours explicit, like, you know, without the Cosmic Universe's consent to be a part of that I would have a problem with, for sure. As I'm saying that, you realize that there's a fine line, right? Because as an artist, you know, in a band, you want more and more people to hear you. There's some leeway that you give. But then when you take it, say, like in terms of what we're doing with the podcast, and we're trying to create this other type of brand that's based around the business and from our experience and personal growth, you don't want people stealing that. So, you know what I mean? Right. It's kind of a weird thing as being an artist, you're an artist, but then we're doing something different. We're kind of like almost battling ourselves here. It's kind of like robbing Peter to pay Paul. It's okay here, but it's not okay here, right? Right. I think if someone lifted our content, and if they're going to lift it, like I said, if they're going to lift it, get it right. Have us on. We'll talk about it. You know, we'll help promote you. I mean, you know, you promote us, we'll promote you. And again, it's I guess that's a fine line. I guess it's a fine line between, you know, what you're doing, what you're not doing. That's a tough question, for sure. I don't know if I get too. I don't know. Maybe I think I'd get a little miffed simply because, you know, we're kind of putting it all out there on the sleeve, and some of this is raw, some of this is really us. You know, it's like this is our personal type approach to it. Where again, we've talked about like with a band and being an artist, though we try to stay true to a certain thing to us. At the same time, there's still show business involved. Though this is show business too, I get it. But this is kind of like, this is the reality, more or less. Like, we're doing this, we're taking, you know, for a reason. I guess there's a reason for the other thing, too. But there's that fragile ego on the other side. That if we don't let people hear us, we're all really going to be stuck in our basement.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, because the truth of the matter is a lot of us for these podcasts, right? A lot of us guys on these podcasts, we're doing this of our own accord, of our own time, usually money out of our own pocket. It's tough to find sponsorships and to deliver something of quality that you know, more than the two of us are going to listen to. That's how we feel about it. How other people feel about it, I don't know. So it's hard to say. That's hard to say. I think, again, if all of a sudden Disney took Muck and Junk from me, I'd be kind of angry that I just missed my payday, and I'm not sure that I'm not sure I got enough money in reserve to pay a lawyer to get me out of that one. But I would really be bummed out. Like, dude, I would have sold it to you for like nothing. Just give me free park passes forever.
Right, exactly.
You know what I mean? I'll make it real easy on you.
Yeah.
A McDonald's meal and some park passes.
We don't even need lawyers. It's literally an email.
Yeah, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? I mean, come on, man. Just like, and maybe, you know, free, you know, give me park passes and then free Mickey pretzels all the time.
There you go.
You know what I mean?
Yo, yeah, you got yeah. Maybe
you know
a Dole Whip here and there,
Yeah, you know what I mean? Look, they can only give me, I can only go once a year. All right. You know what I mean? Just give me a T-shirt. That's okay. I make it really, I'm like a cheap date, man. I don't care. So, you know, I don't know. Like, if you're going to steal it from me, you know, make sure it's right. Make sure my logo's right. Make sure my music sounds half decent. So you know.
Right, exactly.
You know, whatever. But for me, as an artist, and I think most artists are like this, if you really need to use it for something, nowadays people are so accessible. If they're on social media, and even if you can't send them a message or they don't have an email, just put a post up. that tags them. Or if you can't post on their page, you know how some pages won't let you post?
Yeah.
But you can reply to one of their posts, then do that.
Yeah.
Say, hey, man, I'm so-and-so from, so-and place, and I really like to use your logo. Is that okay? You can contact me here. And then at least you gave it a shot. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And if that artist or that whatever, that brand is monitoring whatever they're doing, I really do believe that today, the way things are, most people say, yeah, go ahead and do it. Let me get you, at least let me represent in a proper light with the correct stuff. Right? Because I rather have that than to be, it be half-ass, to put it bluntly.
For sure. For sure. Yep.
That's just my opinion, you know what I mean? So I may run out right now and get a Chris Nanolini Cosmic View tattoo right here on the arm. And I'll just put it up to the camera. Like, so when you're on tour or vacation, I'll just put another camera next to my arm. What do you think? I think I just solved some problems. What do you think, Chris? Yeah, okay, sure. I don't know. Well, you got anything else you'd like to add to that?
No, brother, no, not at all.
Yeah, so, I mean, listen, you're going to use somebody's stuff. If you're going to use it in a way that you're going to start putting it out there on social media or whatever, then I think you need to contact somebody and just find out what the deal is, right? It's good manners. You would like somebody to do that for you as well. If it's fan appreciation, if you're doing posters in your room, or you want to tattoo your body up or make a one-of-a-kind shirt or a couple shirts for your friends when you're going to the show, man, do it, man. That's the way I look at it. Somebody got a problem with it, that's their loss. You know what I mean?
Just bring a shirt for me.
Yeah,
I don't care.
Right. Just bring one for me too. I'll take it. And again, Disney, Muck and Junk are available. Park passes, I'm all for it. I'll make it even switch, and we can even get them to clean up their act. They can stop cursing. You know what I mean? But I'll be honest with you, once they're yours, that's it. They're not coming back here.
That's right. I wash my hands of the whole thing.
That's right. Once I get those park passes, it doesn't matter what you do.
No takebacks.
No takebacks. No takebacks. So if you like this episode, check out all our other stuff. Check out what we have going on at the Cosmickverse at www.thecosmickvoice.com. We are now on YouTube at the Cosmickverse. That's our channel. Check us out. Season 3 is all the way up there. We have some things happening on Headliner. Check us out on Facebook. Thanks so much for listening. This is the Cosmic Voice. Be sure to check us out at thecosmickvoice.com. Like and follow us on Facebook at The Cosmic Voice. You can find The Cosmic Voice everywhere you listen to online podcasts, like Deezer, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, Stitcher, and so many more.
Okay, folks, that will do it for another episode of The Cosmic Voice. Mick and I would like to say thank you very much for tuning in, and we will see you next week.
You're listening to The Cosmic Voice. Music, talk, and nothing but business.